This is Mullins Over Music Podcast, episode 68, with Blake Scopino of Lola Montez, Saving Abel, and his various other cool audio works he does. I know you guys are going to love this one. It's a very audio focused podcast. Go ahead, check it out. You'll love it. Welcome, everybody, to the Mullins Over Music Podcast. I'm your host, at least until the robots take over. And you know what? That might be a very big possibility soon. So, um, anyways, I'm your host, Austin Mullins, and I'm here with a very special guest. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves to you so you can put a name to a voice to a face, how we do things around here. Go ahead.
That's right. Hey, I'm Blake Scopino. I play guitar in a band called Saving Abel and a couple others as well, but I produce, just do random stuff. So, yeah.
And that's how we like it. Producing random stuff.
hmm
That
Oh,
that's
yeah.
on the random stuff is the most important part. Forget about the guitar player. No, I'm just kidding.
At this point, you could say it looks random or it was written by a psychopath, the
Of
story as it unfolds. Yeah.
of course. Well, of course, we have two very important questions at the beginning of every episode. Now, when you were a kid, you were going through, all of school. Whenever you got to a new class, it was say your name, give them a fun fact about yourself, or they'd ask you how your summer was, but we're not in summer, so I can't help with that. Um that was all in preparation for this podcast. You didn't know it, but it led you to this point.
All right.
So let me hear one.
All right. Fun fact about me is I've been eating a plant-based diet since 2011. So I've been vegan for a while now.
That's a
So it's been a minute, but yeah, that's
oop, good. Oh,
um
I have no clue what happened there. The internet cut out for a second.
clouds.
Oh yeah, you know how it is. But you were saying you've been vegan since 2011.
hmm
Awesome. How's that go on tour? Like when you're playing a
It's
show?
pretty easy.
Yeah.
My style is just I do a lot of like snacking from gas stations and stuff, and like the food is so much better now, like the quality and the selection. You could find pretty much anything in a gas station,
Oh
unless
yeah.
you want to, eat at a restaurant. But I'm not quite like that. I'm a little bit more stealthier. I'm a little bit more ninja than that.
Yeah.
So I do just fine. So yeah, like with like plant-based uh ingredients and stuff like that, it's pretty easy. I don't stress. Yeah, yeah, it's just it ain't a thing.
Yeah. I've found that that's become more of a common thing. It's like it doesn't bother me anymore because I feel like at some there's like a small window of time where I feel like not, having a plant-based diet would have been difficult on the road, but it's definitely seemed to have gone in a completely different direction.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, of course, our second question is the fun fact question. And I think this is a very fun question, especially considering Jesus. It is one of those days. Um, we just had the Super Bowl and some other very important events. So this kind of relates to it. What is the worst advertisement you've seen recently? I know I've got one.
Um, Nearly every commercial that aired during the Super Bowl was
Yeah,
dog shit, except the Ben Stiller one. Yeah.
that's because it's Ben Stiller.
Yeah. All of those. Yeah. Except that one. That one was
Okay.
good.
Ben Stiller really makes even the most mediocre things so much better.
Yeah, I think he knows his strengths, like especially as a villain, especially as a bad guy in those movies that he tends to make. And so I think it's a recurring character almost when I see him do that kind of thing, and I like
Yeah,
it. It's just, I mean, so many of his roles have just had that kind of vibe, and I'm like, I think that's funny.
yeah. Well, let's move on to some music questions because people, that's what people came here for. That and the
Right.
incomplete ridiculousness.
Hmm.
I like to think of this as sort of an origin story question. I like you to go and deep dive, go as far back as you can to when that first connection with music really hits you. And then, you know, take us as far up as you want to where we are now.
Well, my first introduction to music, I think, was like through movies and stuff. So once I was kind of through listening to like movie soundtracks and stuff like that. I had heard of the Beatles, and then I had seen some clips of them playing on TV, not live, of course, but
You sure? No, I'm just kidding.
ain't that old. But yeah, and I was at the time I was listening to a lot of oldies radio. There's an
Yeah.
oldies radio station outside of Hartford, Connecticut. I listened to a lot growing up, and they would play a lot of Beatles music. Um, and Stones as well, like all that stuff, all the band stuff. And
Yeah.
I got hooked on the Beatles, man. So I was just like I was kind of a Beatles nerd. I just listened to their records. I just had a bunch of cassettes, Rolling Stones, and a few others too. But I started playing guitar around that time as well. And I was playing on my mom's. She had this old acoustic guitar from like 1975 with a lot of like Summer of Love, like insignia scribbled all over it.
Yeah.
This thing was quite a piece, and the guitar strings they're more like wires, and they were more like piano strings. I mean, they were so stiff. My fingers hurt. They were so thick. I didn't bleed. They were just dented,
Yeah.
just like my whole like finger would hurt. My hand would like.
Yeah.
And I played that for a while until I got an electric guitar for Christmas, and that made my job a lot easier playing the thing. So, and I just started playing a lot of Beatles songs, and I was really happy to do that for a long time, man. But what would happen is I would start listening to newer bands, and then but I was working my way up through the decades, so I listened to a lot of classic rock and got
Yeah.
into the Led Zeppelins, the Deep Purples, and all that. And yeah, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and I started playing in bands, as a teenager through high school. And I went to GIT in LA. That's where I learned to record. So I got big into producing and engineering there. And as time when I started working in studios, really enjoyed that side of it. And because I was starting to write my own music too. So um, I was pretty happy. I kind of went through my shredder phase on guitar.
Yeah.
Um, but at that point, like once I left school, I just started writing and recording a lot. That was my whole thing. It was just whatever I wanted. And I was just doing a lot of heavier rock music, and had various bands in Connecticut and Rhode Island. Um, and over a course of 10 years, I was sort of in and out of that and still working in studios. And then eventually I came to Nashville because I wanted a little bit more of a career. I wanted to be able
Of
to
course.
make more of a living at it than just being a starving artist. And that's what I did. And within a few months, I got some pretty cool touring gigs. They weren't so much touring, but it was just road work.
Yeah.
Like playing amphitheaters and stuff. And it was all like modern pop country. But I was just happy to do it. I was
Yeah.
living in my friend's basement, and I would just go out every night in Nashville and just meet people, random people. And eventually, through the grapevine, I would meet, this person and this person and this person who is MDing for someone else, and uh, they would just hook me up with gigs that maybe their friends wouldn't take because they didn't pay a lot, but
Yeah.
they suggested that I did. And that's kind of how I got started. And eventually I met my girlfriend of for 8 years that eventually we started a band together, and that band was called Lola Montez. And I stopped doing a lot of the hired gun guitar work and just to focus on that band. So that was just a full on original project with just recording, writing, producing, and then performing, all in the same week sometimes. And we would travel a bit for that band. We went to England. We did a lot of things. The music started out as sort of a more of an indie pop rock kind of thing, and then it got heavier and stranger. And then eventually, I was listening to a lot of heavier music, especially through the pandemic. Before the pandemic and then throughout, I was just getting into listening to a lot of heavier stuff, more modern stuff,
Yeah.
because old school metal was never quite my thing. I messed around with some of it, but I was really interested in some of the newer bands that were coming around, and uh, sort of the I guess you could say the post Meshuggah kind of
Yeah.
advent of all the gent bands and stuff like Periphery and Volumes, who I liked quite a bit. Um, just because it wasn't so much about how heavy you could be, but adding all these ambient atmospheric elements too. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. So I rolled up my sleeves and created the best collection of progressive metalcore songs that I could, and that became the last thing that my band did, minus a Taylor Swift cover. So, and that's where I went from playing 6 string guitars to 7 string guitars, and I love playing 7 string guitars. It's definitely my guitar identity. But what happened after that, I released the album and I started working a job in construction to pay for ads to advertise, to promote that EP, which was
Yeah.
called Subversions. And life got pretty uh, overwhelming at that point, just trying to juggle a full time job in construction with uh, trying to maintain some semblance of what felt like a music career.
Yeah.
And I became a little disillusioned with everything, as I had been 9 years earlier when before I even left for Nashville.
Yeah.
And I really just I wanted to have fun because music had become all about promotion and then money and it was still a schlep, and I'd
Yeah.
slept
Of
for
course.
18 years, long road trips and just all these midnight drives by myself. And, after totally tanking as a band somewhere and, whatever band I was in at the time, and having all that, if you want to talk origin stories, I mean, that's part of what gave me the grit to sort of endure. But to me, it wasn't really enduring because what happened was I'm like, I just want to have fun. So I started playing bass guitar, which I had used my bass to record the EP with. And I was just telling my friends, listen, I'll play bass in your band. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care what it is. And so I did a lot of that. And that was in 2024. And I was kind of just boneheading life at that point. Just wanting to have fun, period. That's it. And um, I met Dave Murata, who was the drummer in Saving Abel at the time, and uh, we were playing a tribute event in town, and we played a Helmet song, and we kicked the shit out of it, and we both had a really good time playing it, and he really liked my vibe, and he wanted to bring me into Abel as a bass player, and which I was totally down for.
Yeah. Of course.
But at some point he found my metalcore EP with all the techie guitar playing on it,
Yeah.
and at that point he became more interested in me playing guitar in Abel, and so
That's
uh,
fun.
of, yeah, of course, of which I was certainly willing to oblige him, so uh, that happened, and in a couple months we were in his shed with a whole new lineup in that band, Saving Abel, like recording, rehearsing all the new material. And our first gig was in front of 30,000 people at Welcome to Rockville, and that was pretty magical because that was well beyond anything I'd ever experienced doing music professionally before. So um, that was cool. And we did some touring, we did some one-offs, and yeah, and then here we are. It's another year, and the one thing I didn't that I omitted was in the wake of my construction career, where I was playing bass, I was also doing a lot of electronic music production as well because I do random stuff, man. So
Hey, that's
um,
the random stuff. That's right.
the random stuff, and at that time, I was well beyond sick of everyone else's rock band as well as metal band at that point. So the electronic music was definitely new to me, but I slowly once I understood drum and bass, once I understood techno, the hard techno, and I was able to compose in that, that became kind of a second win for me as an artist, you know. And I still enjoy doing hired gun guitar stuff, but the other side of me, if it wasn't in a band that I had, if it wasn't just a band camp recording project I had, it was my electronic music career, which is under the alias Brom Bones, and I do everything from heavy neuro drum and bass to hard techno to probably some side trance,
Yeah,
but it's endless. So that's what's cool about that is that's a whole um that's a more colorful realm that I haven't exhausted all the permutations and all the uh haven't explored as much as I have other genres. So that's kind of where artistically I've landed a lot in recent times. But that's still um a big part of my focus artistically, not just playing guitar and recording guitar tracks. So yeah, so
hey,
I was
there's
I
so
was
much
when
to
you
that.
hit me up, well, I was interested to know exactly how I fell on your radar because for somebody who doesn't know me, like it's kind of it's I'm in a bit of an enigma, and
Yeah,
the other things tend to mask, the others. So
of course.
yeah,
Well, I've been listening to Lola Montez for a little bit. The stuff you did.
right,
So that's how I
hell
found you.
yeah, all
And then I
right,
was like, oh, you're friends with friends of mine on Facebook. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know you were in Saving Abel too. I was like, oh, well,
funny how that.
let me do my research because I have to do my
Yeah,
research for this podcast. And so, I went down the rabbit hole of all your music.
hell yeah, that's awesome to hear, dude. I mean, that's perfect. That's great. I couldn't have hoped for anything better.
I me, I just love listening to new music. So even if there's music that I haven't heard yet, I will definitely go and find it and listen to it. And whenever I do these episodes, I try to listen to a person's entire discography. Um, it gets close. It doesn't always reach 100% of their stuff though. Some of it there's just too much.
Yeah, there is, and it's hard to form a stance on someone when they do a lot of stuff too. So that's honestly, man, to be real, it's like that's been hard for me
Yeah,
to because when every a year goes by, 2 years go by, you're jumping around, and your identity as a musician, as a career musician, tends to smear a little bit, and that could be difficult to work through.
yeah,
Because sometimes there's opportunities to do that. Like there's like, oh, maybe there's a bunch of mixed competitions or there's some DJ competitions. It's just like, that's where the Braun Bones things fits. But if, unless I have a band, one of my own bands that's kind of everyone's on board for something, then I could do something there. But if it isn't, then that's not an option.
yeah,
And depending on what Saving Abel's doing, like that could be an option that might take up some time, that might not take up some time.
yeah.
Um, it kind of depends, and sometimes you just get straight burnt. I mean, I've gotten burnt on everything I've done, and then that's when you start looking to, for greener pastures,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of creatives, artistic people kind of go through that.
Oh,
And
1000.
you have to kind of dance with that, especially as it pertains to your mental health, because it can be very disillusioning.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. Well, I do want to talk about because when I was looking through your work on Facebook, I saw Foley artist, and I love Foley work. So, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So I have a video game developer friend named Joaquin Molina who I met at Musicians Institute back in 2007 in LA, and we were both audio engineering students, and we were just good buddies back in the day. Who we were both guitar players, we both loved metal, you know. And when we left California, we just kind of went our separate ways, and I actually left LA to go to Pennsylvania to play with these guys I was friends with at the time. We had a band called Recycled America, and we were like an acoustic trio, and it was this very honest, just a great little indie acoustic rock project that was definitely a very I use that as a backdrop because that was a era that just was a very special kind of coming of age, you know, thing for all of
Yeah.
us, just playing music as young wolves at that time. And but once I hit that point where I wanted to try something else, I left and went back home to Connecticut, where I'm from, and had all these other bands. But along the way, Joaquin was communicating to me about this game he was working on. He had gotten into video game development, and he was looking for somebody, I believe, if I recall. And um, I knew a guy, and that guy was Aaron Bossinger, and he was the guitar player, songwriter, singer of Recycled America, who had also I had met at GIT in LA years ago at the same time that we were all there, but Joaquin and Aaron did not know each other. So I ended up hooking up those two guys, and it ended up being a really great union. It was a great collaboration because Aaron was trying to get out of hired gun guitar situations. He wasn't trying to do the band thing so much. He was working with the band, but he really enjoyed producing and engineering, and that was his whole thing. And I knew, and he loved video games. He loved video game audio and soundtracks and stuff. So I knew he would be a great fit for Joaquin, and he was. And tragically, in 2020, Aaron passed away, and there was a period of time where I reconnected with Joaquin, and we kind of grieved together about it. And at the time, I was actually digging deeper into Mick Gordon's music, especially as I was starting the pre-pro for the Subversions EP for Lola Montez, and I started kind of zoning in a little bit on mix method, and the whole world of game audio. And I was thinking about Joaquin, and I ended up just kind of shooting my shot and asking Joaquin if he would like me to come in and essentially pick up where Aaron had left off. And he was down for it, and I threw myself at that project. And he needed everything from, and music was some of the lesser stuff that he needed. It was more, Aaron had already written great music that I kind of reproduced and reamped and stuff. But a lot of what we do musically in that game has been sort of a tribute to Aaron, since he was the mastermind of all that stuff. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing for Joaquin was a lot of Foley and a lot of just like, all right, I need the sound of like paper, getting, crushed, or some squishy sounds, or a lot of dialogue, like just even lending my voice, and my girlfriend at the time as well, like she lent her vocal talent. So that was fun, and I really enjoyed that. And that was at a time where I was freelance mixing records for other people as well, and I was really in the production type of thing. And that sort of culminated with the Subversions EP, at which point I was pretty sick of computers and audio and Pro Tools and needed that other balance in my life. And
I feel
that
that.
eventually happened, but it was definitely a little weird period there. So yeah, the game just needed a lot. It had to undergo a lot. It's called Installation 19. It's by Nerbs Studios, and it's kind of a horror suspense type game,
That's
and
my
it's
type of
really
game right there.
yeah, I think you dig it a lot. It got a lot of great reviews. There were some playthroughs. Some guy did like some preliminary stuff, and it's just still in development. And you know how it goes. Game developers have a lot of
Oh
they have a
yeah.
lot of pressure to succeed on them. So he's yeah, we've just been through a lot of phases of that. So it's been a minute since I've had to do any work on that, but I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I could definitely make a career off that.
Dude, this game looks
So
sick, by the way. I
yeah,
can
great
bet the
video.
sound is great too. I'll check the trailer later when I can listen to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love these types of games, the sort of horror suspense. I bought the Silent Hill 2 remake last night just because I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean, man, dude. I mean, video game fans, they really like it's everything from the lore to the graphics to the sound to the music. They really, more than anything else, they really are all in with that stuff, and that's what makes it fun because you know people are going to appreciate all those finer details.
Yeah.
So
Hey, ever since I was a kid, I was like sound design and like behind the scenes stuff from movies and video games were always my favorite things to watch after like I had to you remember those little video now things? They were
I'm not
like
sure.
they were like tiny video players and they came with tiny discs that you put in them. I had one that had behind the scenes of the making of Star Wars, I think 1, 2, and 3. And so you watch the behind the scenes and how they made the sounds and stuff. One of the sickest things I've ever seen. Rewatched it all the time when I was a kid, and maybe that's part of why I like music now. I mean, besides the soundtrack, like you said the earlier, soundtracks make or break a movie.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, the sound is like kids don't even know what sound design is, you know, and you don't even realize like the sounds that I had to make for Installation 19 were like, I mean, I was definitely, I mean, it's controlled chaos for sure.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, the stuff I would not be able to reproduce in the moment. It was just like, okay, I'm making variations of this thing. And then you hit one that's like money and like, that's it,
Yeah.
bounce, print it, you know, done. And it's like, but there was, just I mean you're stacking distortion plugins and you
Yeah.
know stuff like that where it's not just garbage. It's just like I mean that's some of my most he pushed me to be like to go deep and stuff and it really flexed my creative muscle. It's very it can be very mentally taxing sometimes but it's creatively taxing because you're it's different from music because you're not trying to compose this thing that's supposed to be in a genre or whatever. You're going for the most extreme this or the most extreme that and that could yield just really awesome results. So there's no ceiling as where like with music sometimes there's considerations you know
Yeah.
going into it that can sometimes really just ruin a song or ruin something that could
Yeah.
have been cool but there's too much bullshit like that and with game design with sound design it's kind of up to the end to the to whoever's making it to just be like dude whatever you want just make it as crazy as you can like
Well,
yeah.
what was your favorite sound to make for that? Because I know whenever I do a project, I tend to have a sound that I'm like that was money right there. That's my favorite.
There are some completely insane like roars or just like the some of the ambient stuff was cool because I would throw in something startling
Yeah.
and I would mix it in a way that like if you had the volume of the ambience up enough like that's gonna come out of nowhere and just like hard clip you right in the face. Like
Yeah.
just like it's gonna like I would listen to it. I made the damn thing, but I'm listening to it back. I'm replaying it. And I'm like, Jesus, like God damn, that's scary. Like
Yeah,
that was pretty
absolutely.
gnarly. But then just the one-off sound design stuff, yeah, some of the without giving too much away, some of the more beastlier sounds were
Yeah.
definitely like to get it clean but monstrous at the same time was kind of like a thing because I don't want it to sound
Yeah.
like distortion,
Yeah.
but just enough, and then to use everything else that you have in a way that's just that makes it just kind of insane sounding and unreplicatable is like
Yeah.
that's where it was just like damn. So I credit Joaquin with really pushing me to go that far. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, you talked about soundtracks earlier and about how that got you into music. Well, I gotta ask, what are some of your like top tier soundtracks?
I would say like Batman '89, the
Yeah.
Prince soundtrack. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Because I mean that movie has so much style to it. It's
It
like an
really
action movie, it's
does.
a Batman movie, it's a superhero movie, but it's also like it's very stylish and using Prince to make those songs is like the backdrop, not just the score stuff, but like
Yeah.
it's such a great combo. And like growing up, like because I was like, I don't know, around 5 years old at that time, like when
Yeah.
that all happened, it was very much like it made sense, and
Sure.
it stuck with me. And I was like, yeah, like the visuals and the audio, the sound, like it's just awesome. Yeah. Um, I'm not
Underrated.
really a John Williams kind of guy. I'm not really a classical score kind of guy.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was hired to do a movie the way like Tim Burton or whoever hired Prince for a specific kind of thing, that would be fun. That would be cool because then I could, and I've done string stuff, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
more, I don't know, it's been done.
It has. Too often sometimes.
Yeah, too often. I guess you could say, I mean, there's a lot of famous movies that have like they're known for the soundtracks just because the music director grabbed a bunch of known songs and it just worked. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's not really a music score,
No, that's
unless there's songs that were made for the movie,
yeah.
um, like Prince soundtrack was. So,
Just
like, yeah,
yeah, dude, that's a great choice. Honestly, underrated film overall.
yeah,
It should get more recognition.
yeah. I mean,
I
I
guess
think
it
now.
did a little.
Yeah, I think with social media now, there's like pages dedicated to, I mean, whatever like old film like that's ever been made. Like, and there's
Yeah.
just people, and then you see the behind the scenes stuff. You're like, oh wow, that's cool, and that's where you'll see all the love, and you kind of like appreciate older movies for you know things that newer movies don't have.
Yeah. I've been seeing on I think it's YouTube Shorts. Shorts for McFarlane USA, that running film. And I'm like, this film has been around for a while. Also, why am I just randomly getting this?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to go down the rabbit hole with pop culture, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this brings us to my next fun question. I gotta ask you about your gear because let's be honest, we love as musicians we love our gear,
Hmm.
whether it's a guitar, whether it's our setup. I gotta hear about it. So lay it all on me. I want to hear everything you got that you want to share. Share as much or as little as possible.
I don't know if this is the I'm I'm gonna satisfy this question as much as someone else, but I my thing with uh my thing with gear is number one, it doesn't mean anything without the human behind it, and
1000%.
number two, it could actually just feel just horribly ironic if you have something that is great, but you don't have a vehicle to use it through or play
Yeah,
through. There's no band. There's no like having a really great band is better than having
really
just
good gear. Yeah.
really good gear, you know. But I mean, obviously, I mean, there's like, because I have a bit of a, you know, love hate relationship with gear too, because I don't consider myself, you know, I don't bang guitars into things,
Yeah.
but you'd be surprised to know what causes the internal components and parts of a guitar to fail first, you know, and you know, whether it's the input jacks or the volume knobs, like
Those always
just
go
from
first.
jumping up and down, like that can do a lot. And yeah, and that's stuff that like ought to never happen, but it does. And I've had it. I break a lot of strings, I break a lot of knobs, and I break a lot of input jacks, and I've clipped a lot of headstocks, man. So I don't. It's not that I don't consider my um. That's just me having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
So I the sort of the way that people um worship gear is not doesn't apply to my experience. It does
Yeah.
not speak to my experience because uh, just because of it. I mean, you could have it, it. Just that's the deal, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like the it. I've I've gone through a lot of different phases playing guitar, and I grew up playing Strats and Super Strats, and then Ibanez's, and then being like, I want to play single coils again. And then I ended up, you know, for the Subversions EP, I have two Ibanez 7 strings that I love a lot. And they were the RGIF, they were like the Iron Label. It looks like something out of like The Walking Dead or something. It looks like
Yeah.
back of a barn door, just seasick green, like, but like open pore fin. Like, I've never seen this guitar anywhere else. And it's not the most expensive Ibanez. You could definitely upgrade the hardware on it, and it's got some EMGs and stuff. But it was, you know, slanted frets. You know, like, I mean, it. I
Yeah.
just getting into 7 string and metal. I was like, just bring it on. I don't care. Like, let it be a meme. I don't care. I enjoyed playing those guitars so much. Uh, that's kind of where my whole life of playing guitar ended up with. Um, and I think a lot of guitar makers, I think stylistically, they're just, I don't know, they missed the mark, you know,
Yeah.
but I know they always have to have something new and bigger and better, you know, louder or just gainier. I'm not
Different.
sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, once in a while, like, I mean, there's stuff that's classic that really never goes out of style.
Of course.
Um, but I definitely consider myself a 7 string type of guy. Um,
Same here.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. What do you play?
I have two 7 strings at the moment. I got a Schecter Diamond Series, and then I have a Jackson something. I can never remember what it is.
But they fuck, you know, that's all that matters,
Well,
you know.
The Schecter's good. I'm sometimes I'm happy with the I or with the Jackson. Sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I should trade this for something else.
It's, I mean, I mean, they all like have the capacity to like fail in some way.
Yeah,
And it can be on
absolutely.
stage. And then like in my case, like where I'm playing 7 string guitars, where I'm playing you know, my bass, and I'm doing like I'm jumping around all these things. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I have to like like if you don't play a guitar for a while, like something will happen with the action. It'll just go wonky. It'll
Yeah,
be weird. So and that's where it's just like, yeah, no guitar is holy. You know,
no.
so it's just they all. It's like how much do you love it? I mean, there's guitars that I have that probably contain a little bit of my soul by now, just
Yeah,
because of everything we've been through. But if I don't play it for a while, like the guitar just gets weird. And it's just like, oh, you
yeah.
haven't played me in a minute, you know. And it's like, and I was just, it's just like, and
It
so, but
lets you know.
I don't know now. Well, yeah, I mean, like the funny thing about like saving Abel is that like I had to go back to playing 6 string guitars, which was a little bit of a weird adjustment for me because that was something that I had left a long time ago. It's like playing in like rock like
Yeah.
rock band with like a string. It seems weird to say, but like, but it took me a minute to just sort of get comfortable with all of that. Just
Yeah.
and but finding a new identity on that type of instrument, and um, I'm gonna be getting back. I want to shout out John Slade, our guy at Peavey, who's been really helpful at dialing this Les Paul I have, just dialing it in to make it just kind of bulletproof and a little bit more me,
Yeah.
So it's not just another guy playing Les Paul and stuff like, or a hot rodded Les Paul.
Yeah.
I wanted something that kind of represents me. We just kind of we just, I mean, the hardware, the electronics, the input jacks. I mean, the input jacks from a PA. I mean, it's just he's already
That's
worked. I do
awesome.
have a Balaguer as well. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's an offset telly basically. When you strip the poly off it, so it's all matte black, and it's pretty hardcore looking, man.
That does sound hardcore.
But it plays a lot differently than a yeah. It's just, I mean, now that you got like hardcore bands playing offset guitars,
Yeah.
it's sort of I like that better because anything I was doing before that was not quite that current because I never really kept up on trends and I never really cared. So yeah, getting back to other than playing like black Les Pauls, which is sort of the easy way to do it, like
Yeah.
it's taken a little bit to find the right aesthetic for me playing in a rock band again, because I wanted it to feel authentic. But I also wanted to be comfortable because playing a Les Paul for me was very weird coming from the
Yeah.
Strat style or an Ibanez, and so I'm really excited about getting the Les Paul back, and it's a Les Paul Studio, which I happily play on stage, anyways,
Oh yeah.
even though you're not supposed to. But like it's just
Who
it's so modded now that it really doesn't even matter, and that's what makes it special to me, you
yeah.
know. Because there were times where I hated that guitar because of how it was and all like whatever, like the other guitars too, like it would fail in some small but very defining way, and
Yeah.
I couldn't use it anymore, whether it was electronic or like two strings would break in the song. Like it's you're only as good as your weakest component on a guitar. So,
Oh
and that
yeah.
could be any guitar. So yeah,
90% of
so
the time
in
it's
age,
the
yeah,
strings.
yeah. But as far as the amps go, I mean, we're running modelers, so
Yeah.
I've had the same Helix LT since 2020, I think, and I love it. I mean, I really don't care for any other modeler at this point. One's
Yeah.
good for me, and I just get interested in other things
Yeah,
at
of
that
course.
point than worrying. But the modeler models, it's good. We did start running 212s on stage because in like clubs and smaller places, it's a little weird when you don't have some kind of stage volume.
Yeah.
Um,
I can it feels different.
yeah, it depends on the venue. But if you're in a small room with a drum kit that acoustically is producing a lot of noise, and you don't have amps to go through it. It's all
Yeah.
going through lanes, and it's kind of weird.
It's not as
But
enjoyable.
yeah, it's not as enjoyable. But the pitching down effect of the modelers is really the main reason why we use it, is to be able to
Yeah.
go, because with Saving Abel, like nearly every song is just a drop D, drop C, drop B flat. So we each have two guitars a piece, and then we pitch down for all the tunings. Um, and yeah, and it's yeah. As far as recording goes, man, I mean, I've definitely been big into modelers, originally from that era, but now like the technology and the digital technology is so good, it's really hard to
Differentiate.
fight that, unless you're going for an analog recording studio lifestyle.
Yeah.
Then have fun, because that's cool too. But yeah, I
A lot of
definitely,
space too.
yeah, unless you got a lot of space and you have selector equipment that can kind of bounce around quickly, and
Yeah.
you'd shoot out mic positions and stuff like that. So yeah, that could be fun, but my style of producing became a lot stealthier, to the point where I love using open back headphones, and I love using good modelers. Ones
Yeah.
not ones I don't like, but good. ones that just sort of suit what I'm doing, but it allows me to produce faster, you know. Because you know, if you could keep mixing on and
Yeah.
on and never ending. And so I try to avoid that. So like I don't know, if you use analog, you could commit to it and then you're locked in. So there's,
Yeah.
or you just print something, you could print the modeler and that works too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Okay. I like it, and I like your approach to it. Well,
yeah.
this is a fun question that I always enjoy. What is your favorite song you've written and why? And this is going to throw you. What is your least favorite song you've written and why?
Favorite song is a song called Wheelbarrow, which you can only find on Bandcamp. So I put it out in 2013. I wasn't doing anything on, I wasn't releasing music on Spotify. And the reason I say that is because it's the one song where people will like come up to me like from like back in the day that I knew at the time. They're like, "Hey man, remember when you put that song about that wheelbarrow? Like you put it out." But I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. That was cool." And it's funny because that song kind of had more of an impact just with like even just my friends and stuff than
Yeah.
like any other song that I've released, even ones that I've you know run at Facebook ads for, you know, and it kind of makes me reflect on that and think like, well, do I like that song? Yeah, I do. I mean, I like a lot of I like all my songs, but that song, I guess I gotta give that one the crown just because when I think about it, it definitely, yeah, it's hard, it's fast, it's heavy, but it also is a little silly. You
Yeah.
know, it's about a fucking wheelbarrow because I was doing a ton of landscaping and yard work at the time, and
I mean, that's pretty
I
serious.
wrote about this thing in my life, and the lyrics are kind of funny, they're kind of silly, and I'm kind of speak singing it, and it just kind of suits me. And if you know me as a person, and like that's the whole thing about like hiding behind like artist personas and stuff like that. Like if you know me as a person, Wheelbarrow is a very authentic song. So it's like it's just a fun rock song that's a little silly. And if you know me, I guess that sort of sums up my personality, like when it comes
Yeah.
to music too. Most consistently, so that.
Okay.
And as far as least favorite song,
Doesn't mean you hate the song. It just means that, on a tier list, it would rank at the bottom.
yeah, it's a song. It would have been a song that I wrote, and now I can't remember the name of it. Um, there's a lot of songs, but damn, I can't write. It's another Bandcamp song. I can't remember the name of it actually, but that's which is weird. But the music was good. The music had been in production for a few years, and I had added a lot to it. Musically, it was good. Lyrically, and I consider my lyrics to be pretty good, but lyrically the song didn't age well just because I feel like the song is basically I write a lot of lyrics that are sort of I'm playing a character in the own like my own movie that I'm directing.
Yeah.
And this one was coming from sort of a place of of grieving and but anger and bitterness in a way that it didn't age well to me and I wouldn't have written those lyrics. And I don't remember the name of the song, but
Got
I don't know. People thought it was good, but I don't like that was a little. I don't know. That was one thing where I'd be like, yeah. Other than other songs that were like, yeah, that's some earlier work and stuff like that.
Of course.
Like I give them a pass. If I that's one those lyrics I'd be like, yeah, I think I would have done something else.
Hey,
Yeah,
we all have that one song where we're just like, music's good.
he's good. I would change the lyrics. I
Yeah.
would change the theme, change the topic.
You should take that song, change the topic and do it like a gardening rake. Cut.
Gardening rake. I mean, that's it,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, garden tools, man.
Yeah.
Just that's my thing now. It's I gotta
Commit to the wheelbarrow bit and continue with gardening tools and
like a
stuff like
hoe, garden hoe,
yeah.
sprinkler maybe,
Oh
spigot,
yeah.
you know,
Water hose.
water hose, classic, man.
I mean, That's a hit right there. Water hose.
I mean, even seriously, like if you make it like if it's ironic in a way that where it hits where you're like, ah, it's kind of funny and the music's good and it's about a garden hose. Like you admire the work. I mean,
Yeah,
it's more
yeah,
admirable than just doing something that's kind of basic, you know?
of course. And then the live show, you could have like a box at the front
Yeah.
where you plant uh, a plant in the middle of the
Mulch,
set.
just piles of
Yeah,
dirt. Yeah.
a wheelbarrow that you bring your stuff in on.
Yep. Yeah.
I think we got something here.
Yeah. I think it's got some potential.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to ask you, as a recording person, if you will, what is your favorite DAW to use?
Pro Tools. And I'm telling you, man, I've there was a time where there's many years where I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this Avid. I'm you're getting a little too buggy. I think I might jump ship and stuff. And then I actually tried some other DAWs and was like, geez, I cannot edit anything in here. Not that the point is to edit audio, but if you're going to do it, even in a slight way, it's like you get so used to the graphical waveforms in Pro Tools. If you've
Yeah,
never used Pro Tools, that's what no one's talking about. It's just like, and that's why a lot of sound design people, that's why a lot of game audio people, soundtrack people use Pro Tools, is because in like creating perfect loops, into creating like stitching stuff together, like not even just to be fake and like be detective and like grid everything, whatever. Obviously that too, but if you work with audio a lot, uh, it now I'll actually say it can't be beat. It is the best. You can edit audio and other waveforms, but it's definitely not as good. But I will say I love mixing in Pro Tools too. And there's really nothing. It would only be something like Ableton that I think would have native like built-in tools that allow nonlinear music creation
yeah.
that would interest me. Or you're FL Studio from day one where that um, that system is very unique to its own. That ecosystem is very unique to itself, so you can't find. Then you're going to be used to that because it's Pro Tools is a hefty app and it doesn't like other apps in its way. So
No, it does.
it's
It
it's
does.
it's a little bit of a commitment. I mean,
Yeah.
FL probably starts up a lot quicker than Pro Tools, but as far as DAWs go, I love it. And if we're talking editing audio, it's definitely the best.
See, I have a love-hate relationship with Pro Tools.
Yeah.
I was working on a project where I had to put in like Foley and stuff inside of a movie scene, and
Yeah.
um it decided it didn't want to work every third so every almost on the dot between 15 and 20 minutes it would just crash.
Yeah.
And I was so mad. I was like, you're this
Yeah.
close, Pro Tools. I like you, but you're this close."
Relatable. Did you have like the video, like the inset video?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I had
Yeah.
to put the video in to, line it
Yeah.
up with it.
Yeah. Post production would definitely, if that was my main gig, I would probably have to optimize some things because that's
Yeah.
where it would start getting a little bit more involved. If
Yeah.
we're talking about rock bands and stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pro Tools.
Music wise, it runs great.
Yeah.
And then if anything, I would probably, if I were to do that project again, I'd probably use Logic Pro for that because Logic Pro, you can move your the like movie itself into it a little easier.
Hmm. That's
And
cool. Yeah. I can.
it's got a nice little window that doesn't crash your entire digital workstation.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, it's hard to beat Logic's width of
Intuity. Yeah.
functionality and stuff. It just does so many things really good, and I think that's Apple's kind of R&D. Like they make things pretty easy to sort. Unless you're a PC user, then you
Yeah,
not a good
they
at that at all.
they said you can use our cool stuff, But you have to be 100% committed. Otherwise, we don't want you.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
most companies do that to be fair, but Apple's notorious for it.
Yeah, they do. Um,
At least with Windows, I got options.
they do. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the deal. I was thinking of doing that, and it wasn't even that I liked Apple so much. Over time, I've kind of used the inter-device compatibility thing. Like that is nice with Apple, but
I like to copy and paste stuff from my phone or my computer to the
yeah,
other.
yeah, same.
Number one reason I use a MacBook and an iPhone, so I can copy a link and put it in
Yeah,
my computer. Number one
yep.
reason.
Hell yes.
Well,
God,
to continue on this trend of recording and mixing, what is the so this is a two-part question. What is one thing you see a lot of people doing in mixing wrong or recording? And what is a trend in recording and mixing that you can't get behind? Both kind of loaded questions, a little bit separate, but they kind of relate to each other too.
so the first one was
What's something you see a lot of people do wrong when they're going to, I guess this would more apply to beginner recording and mixing people.
yeah.
But what do you see them doing wrong the most that you're like, well, if you just did this, you'd fix like half your problems. I think I have one, but it's not necessarily a problem. It's more of a workflow thing, if you will.
What is your workflow thing?
So a lot of times people won't go in and set up like all their preferences and all their stuff, set up the way their digital audio workstation is. And it adds so much more time if you don't just go in and like set up the way you like to record and mix things
Yeah.
or edit
Oh
things.
yeah, right. Yeah.
People just go
Yeah.
into it and then they're like moving all the stuff, which I won't lie, on occasion I do like to do. It's sort of cathartic. But
Yeah.
most of the time, when I open up Logic or Pro Tools, I have settings that I have specifically set up to make it so I'm not sitting there for the first 20 minutes trying to set something up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, it's called mix prep, like
Yeah.
which is, like before you get to mixing and stuff, you gotta, especially if you're working with real instruments and real band stuff, there's a lot of labeling stuff. I mean, you could color code if you want. I
I do
think
like a
the
good
biggest,
color coding.
yeah, I mean, that's the reason I never really did, in dark mode with like Pro Tools, just because it was harder to see the colors. It wasn't as vibrant.
Yeah.
Because I started Pro Tools 7.3.1 like that, and it was before like 12 where they made everything a little bit more like understated and stuff. But
Yeah.
I definitely the color coding helps because the bigger the mix gets, it just gets wild. And I'd say that the thing that people do wrong, and it's really about people who are going into with the expectation that Pro Tools is like a really expensive guitar is just going to change all their problems, like it's going
Yeah.
to fix everything, and it won't. And Pro Tools is just a DAW, and they all essentially do the same thing. And someone will like get Pro Tools, and they'll think it's like, oh, I got Pro Tools, it's like that, but they're just kind of they're just rushing through everything, and they don't really know, and they don't really care, and they don't label anything, and you get like tracks, you get prints that say like audio underscore 01, 00
Yeah.
under one, like okay, like, and then somebody
Audio
will be like, yeah, I
underscore
want to get
zero
somebody who uses
two.
Pro Tools. Everyone who uses Pro Tools sends me stuff, and it's not, they don't do any crossfades and stuff. And I would say like this, like some DAWs will automatic every time you do an edit and you every time you make an edit, it will automatically crossfade it for you.
Yeah.
Pro Tools doesn't do that. No. And honestly, I like to do my own crossfades. I have preferences on, you want to talk about like preferences
Yeah.
in Pro Tools? Like I've got like 5 different crossfade preferences, which is kind of nuts, but it makes a difference to me.
No, it's not nuts
Um,
at all. I 100% agree.
yeah, it's, and I mean, so the thing, and then people get like, oh, Pro Tools users are idiots and Pro Tools sucks. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just there's people who are thinking that Pro Tools is just it's gonna sound better, which is completely asinine. There's nothing to do with
It
it.
really is.
It's just like, it Pro Tools gives you more space to do things how you want to do. So that's the doing things wrong. I mean, if you do that with any DAW, it'll
Yeah.
you're just gonna have a bad time. So yeah, it's going into any DAW with the expectations of like that. But now like with in terms of mixing and recording and stuff, I don't know. I think there's whether it's AI or a drum machine. I mean, there's just
The use of
technique
that's
wise,
the
there's so many shortcuts. It really doesn't matter. It's like no one's really doing the work of editing drums and vocals. If it sounds like crap, then you either don't know it is and you're letting it fly,
Yeah.
or yeah, that's more producer type stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
misusing the DAW, like if you hard clip a kick drum enough times, it's gonna sound goofy, and that's not what you really are going for. Sometimes I hear that in bigger records where I'm like, yeah, you either need a side chain more. You say, I mean, that's the only thing
Yeah.
I say. Like, I think where I hear, like, I think I know what they're trying to go for, but it's just blowing out, and I don't think that was the intent, especially for like a band type of song. Um,
Gotta
Sometimes
use
it
the
can,
mix
but
button.
it just depends.
Yeah.
But really, there's no excuses now to really not get any sound you want on any type of instrument. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then the second thing you asked was that I can't get behind.
Yeah, a music trend of current or like a music recording or mixing trend of current times that you can't get behind. Mine is extreme time aligning of drums. I know that's like uh that's kind of a more common one, but still I can't get behind it. People are like, I want the most perfect drums. I can see your argument, but I like a little bit of I don't know,
Yeah,
dumbness to
yeah.
my drums.
Well, yeah. Yeah. That's you have to kind of be experienced to know why that's important to have some humanism in something that is still getting it edited. And
Yeah.
to leave space for stuff like that. And there's an art to that, and you can't really explain it to somebody who doesn't know that. And also to realize, like, if you wanted everything gridded, why don't you just program it instead?
Yeah.
Or like hear what they're going for, and then just programming it and just put a bunch of one-shot samples on it anyways, which you're already planning on doing. Like it's not going to make a difference at that point. Actually,
Yeah.
the drum machine will sound more realistic unless you've got a multi-sample triggering round robin thing triggering on
Yeah.
your slate, and on slate trigger. But it's like, but like that thing though is like the degree to which like even some like a lot of metal bands, it's just they're recording that they're not the demos have been done on a drum machine and the record gets done on a drum machine. It just gets edited just because of budgets and stuff. So it's like anytime I hear that somebody is actually editing drums to that degree, I'm always kind of impressed just
Yeah.
from an engineer standpoint, because a lot of those guys, that's all they do. They just edit waveforms. And I know what that life is like, and you can burn out doing it. And it doesn't even, because you could like I could listen to like a Black Keys album and you could
Yeah.
hear so much pushing and pulling. And as a producer, as an engineer, like if you've edited drums before, you'll know immediately when you hear something like that on a record. So when you hear that, it's like you can. That's why, like they say, like oh, engineering will like ruin you, but like for me, it doesn't. It deepens my appreciation for the,
Yeah.
the whole art, and it's cool because I can listen to that and be like, okay, I hear this pushing and pulling, but I don't hate it. I don't. It doesn't take away from the music at all. I still enjoy it. In fact, I like it. Maybe I'll do something like it that's very like kind of loose like that.
Yeah.
So, and even like, I mean, the way some like, even like, look at like, I don't know, like, I mean, with electronic music, it's even crazier the way like things people do on their DAWs on a laptop that that's not technically proper, but they do it anyways, and then it creates a whole new sound. Um, there is something really nasty and aggressive about everything being clipped to shit, you know. But and if the music and the if the lyrics and the if it's all on the same wavelength, then it's no pun intended. It's it actually can kind of work. So yeah, in terms of trends, yeah, I mean it's like, and I mean there's so many things that where it's like the fact that somebody wants their drums edited in the first place, or that's even gonna happen. It's just like the first thing I think of is like, oh wow, somebody's actually paying a shit ton of money for somebody to produce their album. All right, that's
Yeah.
cool, because that type of work's not going to happen,
No.
for chump change. So it's like,
No.
and that's where now, like with some AI tools, people hiring, the Fiverr thing's a big deal now. A lot of people
Yeah.
use Fiverr to outsource vocal parts and stuff. Not that that's not real. I guess the person creating it could use AI unbeknownst to the client. So the fact that now there's so many shortcuts to getting a good product, it's like drum editing to me. I wonder even if drum editing that used to be like in the like
Used to be
for
kind of a taboo thing, if anything.
it. I mean, it was a taboo thing, and now I'm wondering if
It's
drum
not.
editing is becoming because of all these advancements in technology, and even with AI, not just programming, but also AI. It's like
Yeah.
the I would say, and if the art of drum editing
Yeah.
itself might not even be relevant anymore. And
No.
especially as like, even just mix wise, we really, post Joey Sturgis and all the things that, that the way metal bands started to sound, it's like a pendulum, things swing
Yeah.
back and forth. And I love the Joey Sturgis sound. I love mixing like that. But then there comes a time where like I want to mix in a different way.
Yeah.
Not one's better than the other. It's
No.
just contrast. And now, like the funny thing that I hear with some hardcore bands is like, okay, that's kind of raw, it's kind of natural, it's kind of tight, but it doesn't have, um, you know, it doesn't necessarily have some of the metalcore bands of back in the day where that Joey Sturgis sound was becoming a leading edge for like this is what you have to sound like if you want to compete on a commercial level with other metal bands. So it's interesting now is that we're taking the best parts of everything that's happened in the past 25 years of like heavy music production, and it's you're hearing different percentages of it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I love it all. I love it all. But it's cool, man. But yeah, drum editing, I wonder how long that's even going to be bothersome anymore.
I'm
Like,
sure that
like,
won't even be relevant anymore at some
like
point.
why? Like, even like why? Because
Yeah.
if you could edit drums and vocals, again, even with vocals, man, like if you could hire somebody who just does it every day, who's not in
Yeah.
your band, whatever, or you can have AI do it, especially with like voice imitation and stuff like, I mean, which it leads to a bigger ethical thing. Even vocal editing,
Yeah.
like even the relevance of that. The only thing that seems to be bulletproof is, and I hate to put it this way, is the sort of the notion of celebrityism. So, I mean, people can only get so interested in, a hologram of someone until they're like, well, where's the real person? What is it about people that, we find interesting? We want to see like
Yeah.
that real person, like in concert and stuff. So as long as there's that, I think, yeah, as far as our jobs go, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Now to add to the drum editing thing, I will say if you do digital drums, which I MIDI out drums sometimes because, recording drums can
Mhm.
be painful in a small space. Uh, at least don't make everything the same velocity.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's there's definitely been some boo-boos made in on that subject, and there's an art to mixing drums with
Yeah.
whether you use one shot samples or multi samples. It's or people think you could just superimpose the same settings over. I've had the same band come through, and I've had to use different samples every time because I'm just like the source tracks are different. And if
Yeah.
you just use 100% triggers, then it's just we're too used to it now. We're
Yeah.
too used to that. We need something else. So yeah, yeah, man, it's it's
Recording and
wild.
mixing, there's not a one size fits all thing.
There isn't.
Especially
Somebody's going to come
from track
through
to
and
track.
yep. Yeah, track to track, man, it could be different. But yeah, if you don't know how to mix up your velocities, and I mean, I came up just programming my own drums, and I was there with the pencil tool, like just changing the, depending on what kind of fill or subdivision, I would have to like change the velocities, and that was with one shots. I didn't have multi samples. I didn't have multi
Yeah.
samples later, and I got hip to that stuff. And I was like, wait, you're saying that there's like a drum machine that has like different like natural hits like that round robin?
Velocities. Yeah.
I started cut and pasting like hip hop style, like on a beat maker, but
Yeah.
in like DAW, and I just didn't know. So, but now, man, it's just like, what if you were to take a drummer, like where's the band? Where's the drum kit at? What room
Yeah.
is it in? Can you take a couple mics? Maybe you only have four mics, knowing you can align samples, you could get
Yeah.
them in phase. You could do it after, but where are they? Where's the mojo happening? Where are they writing these songs? Don't move the drum kit.
No.
Bring a DAW, bring your laptop, record them in that room, and maybe it's going to have some magic that you will not be able to get in a very clinical setting at a big recording studio. Like that appeals to me. And again, that's sort of that's kind of what I'm saying about like recording and producing in a way that's accelerated and moving on to the next stage when it's time, and not.
We're back. Sorry about that, everybody. Um, Now I do have one thing. Did you know that the first Animals as Leaders record is completely programmed drums?
I can see that, which is wild because that kick drum definitely it sounds like, yeah, ironically, it sounds like a real kick drum that was
Yeah.
like with one mic that got clipped pretty hard to where it just sounds not so great anymore.
Yeah.
And the fact that it came from, I don't know if it's a drum machine or what kind of sample, but it's like, if we're gonna program something, then you wouldn't have thought that that's where they were like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
roll with that. But that's just my opinion as a man. I
No,
mean, that's funny you mentioned that because I think about that kick drum a lot.
I do too. Especially from that album to the next album, I feel like there's such a you think about the kick drum just from the one album to the next album, you're like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, and the inspiring thing about all that to me is the fact that like even an act that's supposed to be advertised as a band, that's supposed to be
Yeah.
promoted as a band, like this whole thing is like it's not a band. The way the album was produced uh, has nothing to do with like, oh yeah, it's just a couple guys in a room, we just just laid down the tracks all at once, whatever.
Yeah.
There's these albums that have these very which you'd say sort of synthesized aspects to the production of the album to where it's like, oh, that's interesting, but maybe that's how it had to be. And
Yeah.
the further in time we go in culture, it's just we're seeing genres collide really,
Yeah.
and it's because of the limitations of people, and those are stylistic markers. If all you have is a drum machine and it's you and you're putting an album out, then you're probably going to match all your guitar licks to your kick drum, just because
Yeah.
you can. And not necessarily because of that, but because of something, because of things that you can't actually measure,
Mhm.
people might actually just like it. And
Yeah.
it will not have been because you programmed it or you didn't program the drums. It has nothing to do with it. It's just, because we think about that album and we think about the way it sounds and stuff, and it leaves a mark on you. So the whole thing with like, is there really a bad way to DAW? Nah.
Yeah.
Like Skrillex, I think it's Skrillex, like that whole thing, and
Yeah.
achieving, -3 lufs by just boneheading it in your DAW. Like I've got clippers, I've got distortion
Sometimes
plugins,
just
I've
brute
got the
force your way to
side chain
something.
like crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could make some pretty dangerous weapons of sonic destruction with just those tools. So it's like so that's what's neat. It's endless.
Yeah.
You could misuse a DAW any way you like to achieve whatever chaos you want. And I think
Yeah.
that's fun. And that's the point of Brawn Bones in my electronic music work is how far can I push that envelope?
Yeah, for sure. Did so I've heard of this technique before. I forget who was doing it, but the technique of recording drums where you record the actual kit part, like the drum parts first, and then you record the cymbals separately.
That was like Queen of the Stone Age thing. So they sort of
Yeah.
like they on Songs for the Deaf. That's what they were. I think they were doing. They were like muting the toms and it was like shells and then cymbals, but they were muting the cymbals and they had to. But Dave Grohl he wanted to hit them anyways, so they
Yeah.
had to mute them just so he could actually play the part because they didn't want cymbal bleed. I mean,
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I'm
Gates and
hearing
stuff.
it's becoming like a if you do record real drums and you're not using triggers, I hear that's a common way people are starting to do that now.
Yeah, because they don't know how to sidechain, they don't know, multi-band compressors, they don't know how to get rid of hi-hat bleed in a snare drum. And they want their snare drum to be like crushed and they want to do all this stuff with compression. And it's like, well, yeah, that hi-hat bleed's gonna be depending on where you put the mic, you'll have a lot of crash cymbal bleed in toms. Dude, if you know how to not only edit, and that's the mix prep thing, but also mix toms like that, and use with the intention of actually using the source signal and
Yeah.
not just put one shot, and just
Yeah.
superimpose like one shots and everything. That's a skill, man. And
It's a rare skill
it's a
nowadays.
rare skill. I mean, there's new plugins that are designed to do that, but to sidechain, yeah, man, that's the bane to every drum mixer's existence is
Yeah.
trying to get that hi hat out of the snare because you want the and and I think the answer is like somewhere in between. But if you don't know how to do any of that stuff, then yeah, you're going to do stuff like that. Which I think there's a reason why back in the day, I think was it Eric Valentine that did that. He
Yeah.
was produced that album,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of those Queens albums, they did a lot of, especially with guitars, they did a lot of peculiar stuff just to land on tones that no one else was going to come close to. And you can understand trying to get a punchy organic tone where they want to use the mic signals, but they don't want to have to deal and compromise with bleed from the cymbals. That they would do something like that for a record like that. Yeah, that could be cool. That could be a fun experience
Yeah.
because it would be silly to just put tons of samples on that. And I can't say for sure what the enhancements were made on the drum tones on that album, but I would imagine knowing Eric, thinking of Eric Valentine, like that would have been minimal,
Yeah.
you know, if at all.
Yeah.
Because the whole point, and with a team like that, with that many good minds making that album, they're going to come up with stuff that you can't just
It's gonna
have
be
a plug-in.
special. Yeah. Lightning
It's
in a
going to be
bottle.
special. So sometimes you have to alter the process for that. So that's now the conversation comes back to what makes music special, and then then you look at AI and you look at hiring people that might also be using AI and it's just like,
It's a dangerous
oh yeah,
game
that's
now.
not going to work. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
going to work. There's no point to it anymore. Because it can all be homogenized. And if everyone's doing it, I mean, real instruments can you can homogenize a music scene the same way.
Yeah.
But if you do stuff like that, then it's cool. But it's funny to hear you say that like, they're doing it now again. It's like, yeah, man, there's no limits, is there?
No. Hey, it's one of those things, what goes around comes around type of deal.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Now, when it comes to writing, tell me how you like to write, and then I have a band that does it a certain way that I want to hear your thoughts on.
Cool. Yeah, with me, it could be I don't really start with lyrics, but a lot of times, a lot of times I would have a phrase in my head or a song title, really. I'm like, that's a great song title. And then what will happen is in my mind, I'll hear like a drum groove. I'll be like, okay, I like that. I'm very rhythmic oriented. So I would have a drum beat and some kind of, rhythmic guitar kind
Yeah,
of idea. That wasn't the main thing. Sometimes the vocal rhythm based on like the hook or like whatever the song title is,
yeah,
that would factor into like the drum groove and stuff. I'd be like, okay, it's this tempo, it's got this kind of feel, and this is it. So it kind of starts with the groove, which is actually inspired sometimes by the song title. If that makes sense. So it's like song title, groove, and then guitar parts sort of fill in the gaps. I'm like, well, okay,
yeah.
I'll ready. And that's sort of like the way for me. I mean, I still, dude, I mean, I've been beatboxing since I was a kid, and I
I
still
still do that
beatbox
too.
into my audio notes app. Like a lot of my audio notes are just me beatboxing an idea. Um,
You'll be like,
or unless I have a riff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Totally.
I'll sit there, I'll go bam, 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 you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny. And sometimes the first thing I would do is program drums for something. Um, and and then sort of arrange it with like
Yeah,
with the drums and stuff like the hi-hats and ride cymbal or whatever, and then yeah, I kind of just fill in all the stringed instruments after, just
yeah.
come up with you know
Now, when it comes to writing music with other people, do you prefer to bring in stuff or like do you prefer to sit down with other people and come up with ideas together on the spot? What's kind of the way you prefer to do that
sometimes
when you
it
write with
depends.
people?
Yeah, it depends on who I'm writing with and where I feel like, and if I know kind of what their strengths are. Kind of
Yeah,
depends also where what I've got in my storage tank, of stuff,
of
because
course.
there's lots of stuff like that. And if there is
Oh yeah.
something that I know I have that could work for them, I could lead with that. But otherwise, it could be a trap trying to superimpose one idea on somebody else. And I've had other people kind of superimpose like this one idea they have like over and over again
Yeah.
on stuff that I'm trying to work out with them. That's, it's this, or then it's this. So yeah, I think it's about being sort of quiet and listening and sort of gentle with the situation. And ultimately, you're going to have to meet them
Halfway.
at least halfway. Sometimes, as a guitar player,
Yeah.
um, definitely not being, the vocalist with the melodies and stuff. Unless I have an idea, but usually, I mean, I've had a lot of singers write stuff on my songs that they were hearing the rhythm in a different way than I was, and their phrasing was different than I would have had it be. But I kind of just roll with it. So it really depends, if it's just a singer, then I'm pretty good at taking melodies and writing complete songs around them. Just
Yeah.
one vocal. I've a lot of like a cappella recordings. I love working out songs and coming up with chord progressions. Even I can hear chord progressions based on how somebody sings sometimes, and that can be really fun. Other
Yeah.
times, I just come in with a bunch of riffs and be like, okay, write to this.
Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes, man, that's better because I've definitely experienced it being like you try to be very giving in that collaboration, and it actually ends up getting nowhere. Where sometimes you just have to be like, just write something over this,
Yeah.
you know.
Of course.
So,
Well, there is this band. Um, I think you'll probably know them. It's the band Archspire.
yep.
They write, they come together. They don't, most of the time, they don't even bring stuff. They write their tech death in the same room, all together, like all three guitar players. And
Mhm.
that's how they come up with the stuff for their records. And I was like, that's so strange. It's like how you used to old school jam with people
Yeah,
and come
yeah.
up with stuff, but they do it for tech deathcore.
It's probably a good idea because if it was one guy per song coming up with those really progressive techie arrangements, the other dudes would be like, I gotta learn this fucking thing, like, because it's very they have to commit it to memory. Versus if they're all in the room and one guy's like, all right, let's roll with it, and everyone's like, all right, that's a cool riff, and then somebody else could be like, what if it goes here or something, and they'll be like, all right, well that kind of works and stuff, and everyone agrees on that. Then they're all simultaneously learning the song as it's happening versus being like, all right, I wrote a 7-minute opus, learn it,
Yeah.
like that. And I think it automatically includes everyone into the songwriting process to where now everyone's got more skin in the game,
Yeah.
and it's more inclusive. Not that not that, because I think I've heard interviews with them, and it's not like everyone's idea flies, if everyone, some bands like that could be it's just really kind of diplomatic, or it's just very democratic.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if everyone likes it, then cool. But if that idea just gets downvoted a lot, then sorry, So it's if everyone trusts and respects everyone in the group, then that can work.
Yeah.
And if they've been in that together, especially the two guitar players, like if they've been doing it that long together, then they don't need to hold punches and be like that. It's a
Yeah.
little easier for them to riff, but it's the reason that some bands break up is because the artistic reciprocity
Yeah.
isn't the same, and feelings get hurt and stuff. So but I get for music like that, I feel like that could be. I think Dream Theater might do something kind of similar to that.
Yeah. I could see Dream Theater doing something like
I
that.
don't think it's one guy.
Nah.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
definitely, and it's not like the modern day thing either where you send riffs right across the internet and somebody's like,
yeah,
okay, now I'll take this, put it here, and then I'll add this part. It definitely feels more collaborative instead of disjointed, I guess, like, or
yeah. It could be right.
disconnected. Yeah.
I mean, I like that they do that in the room instead of trade files back and forth, because then you could have this Frankenstein of a song that, yeah, it's progressive, but it's kind of skit. It doesn't really jive. It's just everyone putting their ideas and trying to glue them together out of niceness.
I
You know?
like some tech death bands end up doing.
Yeah, me too. I like the technical aspect of like engineering that stuff, like
Yeah.
recording it and then like mixing it. I mean, anything now. Like I just listen. I'm like, oh, I like how they did that. But especially like music, because people, that's a very polarizing type of music, and I definitely enjoy listening to it when I'm in my mix, when I'm in mix mode, and I'm
Yeah.
doing some like high tech mixing. I'm like, okay, you got like very fast guitar or drum parts. It's like, how do
Yeah.
you make that discernible and intelligible and making
Clean yet
space?
filthy.
Yeah, like, I mean, man, you probably wouldn't be able to do like for super fast stuff. You wouldn't be able to even sidechain aggressively because it's too fast and it wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense. So you have to carve with EQ instead. Like, so making those decisions is really fun because it's like when you get into that world, it's like Dave Otero. Like, I love listening to
Yeah.
interviews with him because he's done that so much. It's cool to notice like tones on those records. It's just like, well, if you're gonna play the craziest music on the planet, this is kind of the way it has to sound.
Yeah.
It's like waving that flag.
I like seeing the interviews with Buster Oldham
Yep.
because first off, the man plays guitar like an animal. I don't know how he plays it with the string, a left-handed guitar right-handed or right-handed guitar left-handed. I don't remember. He plays it upside down, and it's the craziest thing ever. He
And then
doesn't,
you get these new sounds.
yeah, he doesn't learn the track until after he's finished with it.
Yeah, because I mean, which is cool because you're kind of going for it in the moment. You're just capturing lightning in a bottle, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that sounds cool. Like, and maybe you could refine it another day, but like, the day you channel it from the the ether, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, the fire's happened. Let me just record this. This will be the opening riff. This is where the magic started. I think there's something especially, and actually, funny you mentioned all that because it's like that's essentially to me a very Joey Sturgis style of mixing.
Yeah.
But the thing that's not traditionally Joey Sturgis is the music behind it
Yeah.
in terms of where he took that and his background with the bands that he's played with, and still does, is different from the more commercial metalcore world that we heard a lot of those sounds on originally with like what Joey was mixing and stuff. So
Yeah.
Buster, a lot of his stuff doesn't have the the commercial metalcore sound musically. So he's putting the
Yeah.
same like putting the same tires on a different car, or putting different tires on the same, you know what I'm saying, like the same
Yeah.
car. It's like, all right, we got a style of mixing that is very familiar, but now on a different musical vehicle with pushing that style of mixing as far as it could go. That's what makes that really fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
I dig that stuff too, man. Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Joey. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah. Hell yes, he's given us so many great products.
The-
I use so many Drum Forge and JST plugins.
yeah.
It's
The
yeah,
DFX 2 is he sent me that to like do some stuff with. I love
nice.
that thing. I haven't posted any of the stuff that I've done with it, but I have done stuff with it. It's such a good it's mainly for drums, but I found that I ended up using it for bass guitar, which
Hell
is a
yeah. Is it
really
harmonic exciter, multi-band harmonic exciter, or
yeah, it's a multi-band exciter. It can be
yeah,
you can change it between multi-band and I'm drawing a
yep,
blank what the other one is. Single band.
mhm, yep.
But I found that while I like using it for drums, it adds a little it's almost you can almost use it as like an EQ boost instead of
Saturator.
yeah. I
Yeah,
like using it on bass guitar the most because it I won't say that my bass guitar tone I'm I'm never happy with a bass guitar tone no matter how much I like plugins I use. I'm always chasing the bass guitar tone because I want something different every time.
do you ever mix it with the in the context of the rest of the instruments and stuff
Yeah, that tends to be where I go.
later
So
on?
wherever I feel like it should sit in the mix for that particular song, I will change it up completely.
Yeah,
Like even if it's just turning a knob a little bit just to roll
warm
back
up.
some of the yeah, roll back some
Yeah,
of the bass or the mids or
yeah,
push a little bit. I'm always tweaking it, but I can throw that on there pretty consistently using the preset I made, and it will push it toward the way I want it to go. So,
love that. Love when that happens.
and then, like you said, those JST plugins, can't get enough of them.
Yeah, they're fun. Yeah,
Although Neural has some fantastic plugins too, and Mixwave, and they're all making good plugins now. It's
yeah.
you are spoiled for choice.
I'm, man, it's funny because I think if you can, I don't want to say limit yourself to the amount of plugins you use, but if you were to say, okay, I can only mix music from now on, anyone who wants me to mix music from now on, I can only use these four plugins. Could be any of them, any. Like, what would they be? And then if that was each of us, we would sound so stylized,
Yeah,
wouldn't we? Like, we would just be like, oh, like that's this guy, that guy mixes like this, that guy mixes like that. It'd be interesting because that's what people do with guitars and
yeah,
playing ability. Like Kurt Cobain sounded like Kurt Cobain because
he's
of
garbage.
what he could do technically and what he couldn't. And I actually think he was actually very
No,
decent technically. Like he was a great
he
guitar player,
is
but he didn't try to go for things that were outside his
conventional.
wheelhouse. And yeah, and his love of the Beatles and Terry Jack and Harry Nilsson, but also punk bands. Like no
Yeah,
one else channeled it the way he did. and you combine it with these, these Fender guitars with a bunch of ridiculous whatever distortion, and it's like,
Yep.
well, now we've got a personality.
Yeah.
And mixers, it's the same thing. It's just like, yeah, man. It's, I mean, there's so many plugins now. I've just, because I haven't produced in a minute, and it's like, like it's even with guitar stuff. I'm not really the first to be like, oh, I need to have that,
Yeah.
unless I confront that problem over and over. Um, I'm kind of happy just being like, as long as I could express myself in the DAW or a guitar, then like I'm good,
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, I mean, dude, taking like a stock EQ plugin and just taking like a 1K and just cranking it into
Yep.
some distortion plugin, like that could be the most gnarliest thing, and just being, and like no right way to do it, like
Yeah.
just being stupid, should be cool. And that's where, like, in terms of producing, like if the band you're mixing for is into it, then cool. Sometimes you don't always get to, but like
Yeah.
sometimes you wish some bands would just say, fuck it, like just let's just be just whatever, and it'll be cool. Like trust
Yeah.
me, you know.
Now, I will say I used to think Kurt Cobain was a terrible guitar player, but as I listened to I've been going back and listening to Nirvana stuff and like looking at how he plays it. The dude would bend his strings in a way that he would hit the notes he wants to play, and if you play it just straight, you don't sound nearly as good as he did.
That's the same thing with Eddie Van Halen. If you
Yeah.
try to play Eruption, if you're too much of a technical metal guy, it's going to sound too stiff,
Yeah.
because Eddie, like Hendrix, like Jimmy Page, like could be very rough around the corners
Yeah.
live. Like Jimi Hendrix was a very, like, he could do a lot of technical things, especially on those classical guitars, those videos of him playing acoustically, and
Him with
like,
Eric
but
Clapton.
yeah, yes, well, yeah. Eric found out, huh? Um,
Yeah.
but that's a great example of somebody who knew like how to get the vibe across, to where it's just like, yeah, it's not all about the technique, and like
Yeah.
Zeppelin, of course, too. And of course, Nirvana, it goes beyond that. So
And Dave Grohl's disco beat.
yeah.
Bra, boom, bra, boom, bra.
Yep. Oh, totally, man. All that stuff and his fills and everything. And even like, yeah, especially Nevermind with the production on that. I mean, actually
Yeah.
all one of the last two albums kind of had that. It was kind of hi-fi, man. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
those early 90s albums had remnants from the 80s, which
Yeah.
was like big drums still, like a lot of the Alice in Chains albums, which is like big 80s drums, but not as obnoxious sounding, not as much gated reverb, but there's
Yeah.
reverb,
Which
there's
I enjoy.
size, it's big. But it's the other things that are different, which makes it that's like that, doing that thing, like taking the Joey Sturgis sound and putting it on, in this sort of very dark, doomy Thal sort of at this this
Yeah.
place. And then it becomes this whole new thing, so, and that's endless, man. As a mixer, it's just like, and now I hear a lot of snare drums get a little smaller, get a little bit more, because now new metal is becoming very nostalgic. And so
Yeah.
when you listen to like Soulfly or bands like, even like System of a Down, like those mixes are great, dude. Like Andy Wallace mixing
Limp
System of a
Bizkit.
Down with Limp Bizkit, man. Thank you. Like, again, a great example, dude.
Yeah.
Like at the time, like it's one thing, but then you look back, especially after writing and mixing, it's like, oh, that's cool. you
Hey,
know?
I will never knock Limp Bizkit. I love them. I will always knock Fred Durst because he's from Kings Mountain, North Carolina, and I think it's fun to knock him for being from there. But just something about the way they were, and people love to hate on them, but let's be honest. They were, they're mixing, they're recording, they're writing, they're playing all way ahead of their time, honestly.
Yeah, dude. It's just like, how loud could we get on loudness wars? Let's
Yeah.
make it loud. Guitar player's going to do anything, but the guitar player is also kind of weird. He's going to do something that's a little off kilter. And even like for Fred to know that and being like, okay, yeah, it's cool. There's going to be guitars. There's going to be some quirky guitars. But then there's heavy stuff. And then it's like, damn, man, we're not in like even like if you listen to like talking about mixing and stuff, like the stuff from the 2000s that Nickelback was putting out,
Yes.
like Randy Staub and stuff, like I at the time, man, I thought that those records were very hi-fi, like too hi-fi.
Yeah.
And this was before I started mixing on a way that was very like, Joey Sturgis, like like,
Yeah.
and then in retrospect, those Nickelback albums were not like sounding like that at all. In
No.
fact, that snare drum from like For All the Right Reasons, I think like that record is a very natural sounding snare, but it still sounds heavy. It still sounds very rock and roll. It's just in that band, it means something different. So sometimes
Yeah.
people don't give those records credit. If you know how to mix, then you'll recognize all the awesome shit that's going on in those
Yeah.
records. But you'll see the similarities between the first Bizkit record and those, that For All the Right Reasons, Nickelback,
Yeah.
and something like Soulfly, and you'll see like that era of music and being like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then now you could bring that stuff back because now we like natural sounding snares again.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like the hardest hitting
People don't
thing
like
or what sound
shotgun
like you
snares
hear.
anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. No snare drum sounds like that.
So
So how do
you're
you
like,
keep that vibe? Yeah. Yeah, I know, totally. And it's if you listen to like Rockstar by Nickelback, um, that is the sound, that snare drum sound is predominantly the snare wires. It's the bottom snare mic.
yeah.
So when you think, oh, should I mic the bottom of the snare? Well, what kind of song are you doing? If you want it to
Yeah.
sound like that, when you think about it like that, you think they made a heavy rock ballad, whatever sounding song about being a rock star, and that snare drum, like what is for that song? You're mixing it like, what's that snare drum going to sound like?
Yeah.
It's something. Now I listen to it now. It's like that's a whole lot of bottom snare.
Hmm.
That you're hearing snare wires that they reverberated a little bit. They like who knows that they could have used a lot of microphones, but you could also, as long as you get that loosening of the snare wires too, to get that like to think that that's what it's like to be rolling in that lifestyle
Yeah.
to have a snare drum that sort of reflects that vibe of that song. Like go back, listen to that song, listen to that snare drum. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I wonder how many mixers out there who do like high tech mixing like can actually organically create that sound. You
Yeah.
know, I mean samples for like impact, but like to get that balance in the sound of it because a lot of times as a mixer you're not sent a bottom snare drum. You're sent the
Yeah.
top but to utilize all parts of the snare drum and it's like that is a snare drum that's not about impact or cutting your head off like that snare drum's about vibe and the
Yeah.
bottom of the snare, not even the top. You're hearing a little bit of resonance like Pong, but like you're hearing a whole lot of the snare wires, and that's the rock star snare drum sound. And to
Yeah.
me, it's like having those revelations is wild.
I'd like to see somebody take that song that's never heard the song before, the mixed version of the song, give them the unmixed raw tracks and see how they would mix it using today's technique. Like,
Yep.
would it come out as iconic as it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they would. Yeah. If you gave here's all the snare tracks, it's like how many of them would actually think to use the bottom snare mic like
Yeah.
that? Because the top snare mic, 57 on top of snare is not going to hear those snare wires.
No.
It just ain't, like you got to get that somewhere else. And you see, all right, top snare and bottom snare. You mix them together, you bust them together, and then you gate them together or whatever. But like you can't gate that bottom snare mic.
No.
Whatever that is, there's no gate on that. There could be, and
Maybe a
who knows,
slight
could be a
gate.
multi-sample, but it's like, because you need space. So it could be a multi-sample. I don't know, but even to make that mix decision, to be like, oh, we need a lot of bottom snare. Like that is a really cool choice.
Yeah.
Artistically.
Now, to sort of play on what you said earlier, what four plugins would you use if you could only choose four plugins? And we'll cut out like guitar amp modeler
Modelers, yeah,
plugins because Well, that takes up a space, and that's not fun.
Yes, no fun. Um, yeah,
I've
hogs.
got at least one. That DFX site too. It would have to go on mine because
Yeah,
I just love playing around with it. It's just so fun.
yeah, those tend to stick around. I would say for me, JST gain reduction for sure, because
Yeah.
that's just immediately that expensive lead vocal sound. It's just got that smacky. It's going through two compressors. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Louis and 1176, and it's just or sorry, a um, the
What's it
black
called?
one,
Yeah.
the the one that the newer one that everyone uses. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, JSD gain reduction, because literally don't have to do anything with it, even though I do a lot of stuff with it still. Like that's literally just insert it and you're done.
Yeah.
That also, this is not meant to be a JST love fest or anything, but hey,
Hey,
I'm here for
you love what you love, man, and we
it.
love JST.
I would do the bus series, the drum one, drum
Yeah.
bus, yeah, drum bus, yeah, and yeah, BG, yeah, bus glue, the bus glue, yeah, the drum one,
Yeah.
the green one. That thing, dude, that thing is snappy as hell. If you're into like the what's it, the Townsend, what's the Brainworks one where it's like it's just a snappy bus compressor,
Yeah, I
and
know what
that
you're
drum
talking
bus
about.
compressor, it's like it's a VCA style, just super
Yeah.
snappy envelope shaper. That thing is crazy, especially the max mode, whichever, I forget what it's called, but that thing is lethal. And then third, I would say standard clip by Sir Audio, just
Yeah.
because I could mess with the CPU and the shape of like hard or soft on the shape of the
Yeah.
clipper, the curve, and I mean I do a lot of clipping. I mean,
Of
and
course.
that one's really helpful for that. Um, but if I had to do only four clippers, I would say side chaining too. Like the fourth one would be a tie between track spacer and the other one, the other side chaining plugin I have, Sidekick for like
Yeah.
EDM, which is completely insane. Producing in either of those genres, those are kind of a necessity. I just feel like without an EQ plugin, the EQ plugins would do a lot. But if we said forget
Yeah.
EQ, because I would take like a whatever, the Ozone EQ or whatever, like
Of course.
Pro Q3, whatever. I mean, other than that, I would say, yeah, JST gain reduction, the bus glue drum comp, standard clip, and then either one of my side chaining plugins.
Those are good choices
Yeah.
because you really can't go wrong with any of those.
They'll do all the damn things.
Yeah. Now there is I bought that vocal plugin Mantra from Neural
Oh,
DSP.
oh, it's from okay, okay. I don't know that
Yeah.
one. I'm thinking of a different mantra.
It's got a de-esser in it, it's got the compressor in it, it's got a hall reverb and stuff in it. That I like to
Yeah.
that would almost be a cheating one because it's got like 20 plugins in one. It saves you so much time having to pull up the de-esser and the compression
It
and the
does.
EQ. I can do it all in that and it saves me so much time.
Yep. Fair.
So that's one of mine simply because then I don't have to use other ones. I can save my other two slots for fun ones.
Yep. And you don't have to think about it. It's done. You
Yeah.
have to get a DS or now.
It's it's
Yeah.
it's stupid fun to use. It's got some fun presets in it too. Like it's got a Mick Gordon presets
Really?
for
For vocal?
synths and
Oh,
vocals. So he used it for both, I guess, and I was like, that's cool. I use it on my drums on occasion too, just because it's got a preset called Attitude Drums, and it really boosts almost like it knows that it's boosting the drum parts and not the cymbal parts.
Yeah,
Like
it's intelligent.
it hits the it's not that like it's not picking them out. I'd have to actually look and see what it does. I liked it so much when I was just playing around with all the different presets. I was like, I don't even have to look at this. I like this. And
Yeah,
so
I like that too.
it boosts the kick drum and the snare drum, but it doesn't boost the cymbals. So it makes them more closely the cymbals aren't like piercing through your ears like you do sometimes if you put it on an entire drum kit after you've put it down into its mix bus after you've
Yeah, yeah,
edited all of them.
yeah. I know that sound. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's piercing if if you put the wrong thing on it, but it does not do that with that, and I was really happy with it. Not quite sure what it does because like I said, I threw it on there, went, "Oh, that's pretty. I'm not messing with this anymore." and called it a day. Sometimes that's all
Yep.
you need though. Some things you're like, "Yeah, I definitely want to mess with this." And then sometimes you're like, "Yeah, I just want to throw this on there and call it a day."
Yeah, really. I mean, it's just things will take a lot longer if you keep thinking about it. So if you don't have to think about it anymore, then like that's a force multiplier because you have more time and energy to focus on other things.
Yeah, I think one of the Mick Gordon presets is like the demonizer or something.
Demonizer, de-esser, like
I was like, okay, we're sticking with the Doom theme here.
yeah, yeah. I would definitely not. I wouldn't think that plugin would have like presets that could do some of those extreme things.
Yeah,
But if you go crazy, yeah,
there's one preset on there. I don't use it in a mix, but I like to throw it on there and just say something into the microphone and listen to the havoc it causes.
huh?
'Cause it's just so out. It's so ridiculous. It makes the vocals sound bad, but in a good way.
That's interesting.
Like I just have fun with it. It's
That's
you,
cool.
you throw up the. It's even got funny enough, it has a auto tune on it too.
Do
I
the
haven't.
T-Pain thing.
Yeah, you can crank that up and do T-Pain. You can do T-Pain metal vocals. It works. It not well, but it sounds interesting. If T-Pain started doing really heavy metal vocals with screams,
Yeah.
it would sound something like that.
Wow, that's I wonder what it would do. It'd be so confused and be like, what is this?
Yeah. Have you seen, speaking of T-Pain, have you seen his cover of War Pigs?
Oh no, I think I might have heard about it though.
It is really good. He turns
Really?
out he can sing pretty well.
That's him?
And
Hell yeah. I
he
gotta
can
check.
rap pretty well too. He was on this rap track. These two old guys named Pete and Baz. They're from the UK. They're like 80 years old. They rap. And they're rapping first off is fantastic.
Really?
But secondly, they did a song called T-Pain and T-Pain heard about it and he was like, let me hop on and do a remix so I can add a little track to it.
Oh wow.
And it was actually really good. I was like, this man's just doing side quests now. He did
Yeah.
his thing that got him popular, made him a ton of money. Now he's just doing what he wants.
That's the life right there. Yeah.
I aspire to be T-Pain levels of side quest kind
Yeah, me
of
too.
stuff. Well, we're reaching toward the end of the podcast, so we just have a few more questions for you. Of course, I have to ask, do you have new music this year coming out that you can share with us that I want to know about new music that you're on?
there is a Saving Abel album uh, on deck, and couldn't tell you when the release date is going to be for that. I think that's all sort of forthcoming right now.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as everything else, man, this I'm in a interesting point in time. I can't say really
Too much, right?
what, yeah, or even what that's going to look like this year. But
Okay.
there are some interesting uh, places that could lead in terms of
Okay.
me dawing it up, me chefing it up in Pro Tools. So
Love it.
yeah, I'm just kind of a dude right now. I'm just kind of an average, dude. Just
Yeah,
not just but I got a mind to make some mayhem. So
I love it. Well, of course, my next question is shows. Any shows that I mean, I know, but to ask, the people want to know what shows do you have coming up this year?
yeah, well, I'll be playing around Nashville. The end of this month, the end of next week with my buddies in a band I play in called Sleep Nation. I'll be playing with an artist named Mickey Brayboy at the end of March. I'm also we do have a Saving Abel show coming up March 4th. If you're in Nashville, March 4th at the end, Nelson Place, we will be doing a Celebrate the End benefit show to benefit the end. Which is a
Yeah.
club in Nashville, and we got our friends around town playing with us as well. So, and there will be some one-offs that are also booked for Saving Abel over the next couple months. But you could definitely get all that info from at the Saving Abel on any of your social media pages.
You'll be here in
Uh,
April, funny enough. I just found out. Or you'll be in
that
Rock
may or may
Hill.
not be. Oh
That's what it
yes,
said. Yeah,
yes,
Rock Hill, South Carolina.
yeah. Funny you should mention that. Because
I know where
yes,
that
Rock
is
Hill.
too.
So April, yeah, South Carolina in the house. Yeah, April 11th, Rock Hill, South Carolina. April 11th.
I'm on that
Saving.
road half the time. Funny enough,
Really?
Galleria Boulevard. It runs all the way from Rock Hill, South Carolina, up into Matthews, North Carolina, in like this weird semicircle.
I know where that
So
is.
I'm
Yeah.
always on that road every week, at least twice a week.
Nice, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, you'll be, I'm sure you'll catch wind of it through my through the stuff. But I'll definitely hit you up.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Be good to connect with you
Yeah, of course.
when we come around.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then of course, you did sound for Installation 19 whenever that comes out. Its planned release date says this year, so everyone be
Okay.
on the lookout for that.
Yep.
It
Yep.
looks sick,
Nerd Studios. Yeah.
and I
Yep,
love a
it's
good
it's
horror
doing
movie.
some things. It's doing some behind the veil scenes type stuff right now. So um, yeah,
As games do during this time
I
period,
think yep,
like GTA 6 has been doing for the past 6 years.
yeah, man. It's definitely. If you thought music was hard, try to get into video game development. I mean, like, God,
I tried coding my own video game in not elementary school, Jesus. No, in my freshman year of high school
yeah,
for a phone game. That was painful.
yeah. They they're all in, and it's there's just so many more bugs they have to work out. So much more logistical, technical things. I think that with music, we don't have quite as many of that.
We don't
So
have to run into walls to see if we'll clip through
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. How hard can we clip this kick drum? Let's find out. Like, all right.
I'm actually gonna try that later.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, cooking shit. Yeah.
How far can I take this until it sounds nothing like the original? That's how some of the best stuff comes about.
Dude, yeah, man. I mean, dubstep is pretty much the only genre that is centered around that very thing, I
Yeah.
think. No, I mean, like I love dubstep, but
Yeah.
that genre of music is basically the best genre for doing that.
Yeah, 1000%. Okay, we got two more questions. The first one is, do you have any well, it's not really a question, I guess. I got called out one time. This is not a question. This is a statement. Plugs and shout outs, let me hear them.
Um,
Kind of a question. What do you
all
have any
the all
plugs or
the
shout outs?
all the Austin Mullins fiends out there who are tuning in, listening to this right now. If you've made it this far and you've endured past uh, 3 hours or however long it's been, it's 2 hours
Yeah.
of feels like three. No, I'm just kidding. Of like it's like when you get on a riff about like audio
Yeah,
stuff.
of
If you've
course.
endured that much audio talk, and but I feel like we kept it fresh with a lot of like cultural relevance too.
Yeah, of course.
If you've listened this far, then shout out to you.
Yeah,
If you're listening
1000%.
to this right now, uh, hell yeah! And also, I'd like to shout out every bandmate that I've had in every band ever. Thank you for
Except for
enduring
you,
me
Tom.
and letting me do whatever the hell I want. Yeah, except for that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
what
yeah. And then just all my friends, all my family, like my parents, my sister, like everyone who's ever like helped me, like even like my sister had to pick me up in Boston one time because I got lost trying to find my car in Boston at a gig that I was at.
that
And
sounds like a typical
her,
Boston thing, to be honest.
yeah, it is a very Boston thing. And her and my brother-in-law swung by and picked me up. And we eventually found my car. I had no idea. I had to walk a lot anyways, and I had all my gear with me. So if you know, you know. And just there's definitely like a lot of people who know kind of my journey, and it's been a long, like 18 years of producing and schlepping in bands.
Yeah.
And there's more people than I could think of that have allowed me to do that and have helped me do that. And I wouldn't be where I am now, still doing music, still enjoying it without all those collaborations and all those friendships. So um, if I say any more, I'm gonna get really emotional
Yeah, of course.
here. But yeah, yeah, it takes other people than just
Yeah.
yourself to get where you want to go. So that's the wild thing, It has to, got to have relationships with people, and
Yep.
that's what makes it work. So,
Hey, you know what they say? It's not about what you know, but who you know, right? And
and
if you
whoever
make them
you know
connections,
might just be all you need to know to get to the next
that's
one,
right.
the next
Um,
part.
happy late birthday to you. A happy birthday month to the both of us. We get
That's
to share
right.
the
You got
birthday
it
month.
right. 22nd.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's right. Yeah. Happy birthday in
I'm going on a trip.
you are?
Yeah.
Where?
I'm just going, my aunt was like, I want to take you on a trip for your birthday. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think I was doing anything this year. Like, I was just like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
one of
gonna
those
do more.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
No.
like, I'm not telling you where. And I was like, okay. But I do know now because we were gonna go to Japan, but my brother's he doesn't have his passport yet. So
Take a
we're
while.
we're saving that for July.
Yep.
She's a flight attendant, so I get some perks for that.
Nice, nice. I see now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's like, so we're going to Universal Hollywood because it's cheaper than Universal Orlando.
Really?
And guess how much the season pass tickets are?
I don't know.
175. Like barely
Really?
anything for a season pass ticket to that.
Yeah, wow, that's wild. Yeah, that's I would have thought it was that little. That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
thought it'd be like $1,000. Well, maybe not,
Yeah, like
maybe not
season.
that much, but like pretty expensive still.
Yeah, I mean, how are they? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of business they normally do there, but yeah, I mean, that sounds like a really good deal that a lot of people should buy. So I
Yeah.
guess they figured that out. I've
Shout
been
out
there
to
a few
Universal
times.
Hollywood. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I only have one question for you left, my friend, and that is what you get to pick the outro song for the episode from your discography. So you pick the track and it'll be the outro track for the episode.
I'm gonna go with The Game by Lola Montez.
Okay, I like it. Great. That's a great choice.
Thank you, man. I'm
I
happy you
I
I
would have
learned.
picked that.
You would have?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking of at the beginning
Really?
when I was going through the questions. I'm like, that would be the song I pick. I always have an opinion about it. I just don't always share it unless it's the same opinion.
It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, great choice. Again, thank you so much. Thank you to all who stuck through the audio talk.
Yeah,
I know
man.
we enjoyed it, so if we enjoyed it, I figure you'll at least enjoy our enjoyment.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
So, do all the thing. I don't know if it's up there or down there. It changes depending on the platform. Do the things. Comment what your favorite audio sample is.
Yeah, let's see those samples. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slate
What's
Snare
your favorite
10.
plugin? There we go.
Yeah, comment your favorite plugin below. Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we may have to do a part two where we look at the plugins that they
Yeah.
put on there
Yep.
and judge people for it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just there'll definitely have to be a part two. We'll just blow it up. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, thank you all for watching and have a good one. This has been Mullins Over Music Podcast, episode 68, with your host, producer, and editor, me, Austin Mullins. Special thanks to guest Blake Scopino of Lola Montez, Saving Abel, and various other projects he's part of. The closing track is The Game by Lola Montez. Check out Blake on all socials, and be on the lookout for Blake's work on Installation 19 on Steam. Make sure it's now. Go listen to Lola Montez and many of Blake's other work, and see him touring with Saving Abel. If you'd like to support the podcast, we now have a merch store that you can check out, link in the description. And we also have a Patreon coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks to Blake for coming on the podcast, being such a chill dude, talking about all things audio, having a good time. Can't wait to see you in April, my friend. Special thanks to viewers like you. Thank you, and until next time.